What is this? Rachel Zegler is trying so hard to make a comeback. Uh-oh, stinky poo.
I am surprised by absolutely nothing these days.
Me neither.
Including this.
I mean, I'm a VTuber, so it's a bit different.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to Hell. And once again, little reminder, I'm still running my 50% off sale on my tea website for Earl Grey, New York Breakfast, and Emerald Green, which expire at the end of November, although the Earl Grey expires in mid-November. So if you want some, now is the time to get it at 50% off, because once it's gone, it's gone. Use the code We Don't Waste, or check out some of the other flavors I have on the website, like my winter flavors, which everybody seems to really enjoy. They're very yummy. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's do the video. So our friend, our queen of Latinas, Rachel Zegler, is desperate to be relevant again. Or if we're being generous, I guess that she's just really looking to not be hated anymore. She seems like she wants to stage some sort of comeback that will turn a massive amount of public meltdown and a historic box office flop into a sort of redemption arc that's worthy of a Disney princess.
You know what's weird is that she could have just not opened her dumb mouth and the box office flop could have happened, and she didn't have to double down and basically say her audience was wrong for not liking the movie. And she probably would have just been picked up again by Disney or some other company. I genuinely, like, we have seen so many people, like, so many actors that flop and, you know, nothing really happens. They just move on to and make a good movie. You have to have a few flops before you get a great movie, and that's fine. But the fact that she's so gross and just negligent in her, you know, in her PR and just not giving a fuck about anything makes her a liability, yeah.
I feel they need some kindness.
Except the princess in question is one that she's spent literally years trying to publicly dismantle. And Disney has sort of been indicating and demonstrating that it's done with wokeism for the time being. So, womp womp, Rachel. But putting that aside just for a moment, it's also the time of year right now where a bunch of news outlets and magazines and whatnot tell us who we are supposed to like and who we want to emulate. Over the last few years, plenty of outlets have highlighted trans-identified men as their women of the year. Imagine trying to explain this concept to someone 15 years ago.
What the hell is even that?
But this
What does that even mean?
Rachel Zegler's desire to be relevant has met Glamour magazine's desire to be relevant.
Women of the year. Why don't we make, like, women of the year, like, people who, like, I don't know, fight cancer or, I don't know, do some really crazy, I don't know, some crazy stuff instead of, you know, glorifying actors. I mean, I do think actors can do really cool stuff and, you know, bring culture and awareness to certain things, but I feel like, why do we do this? Like, it's Rachel Zegler. Like, you didn't even pick a good actress, really?
I guess, as they named her one
Woman of the Year, my mom. Aw, that's so
Coincidentally,
sweet.
Glamour also followed suit this year and decided to name a bunch of trans-identified males as Women of the Year.
Oh.
Why is this a thing? I admittedly always find these situations somewhat weird because it seems like genuinely impactful people don't get selected. It always feels like a bunch of
Well, that's what I was saying, is like, it's better if it's just someone nominated for doing something good in the world.
People that Hollywood wants us to like, or someone who is really wanting to be relevant. Like Pedro Pascal. Is Rachel Zegler the female Pedro Pascal, but without all the creepy?
I would like you to show them to me, please.
That is such a bad clip out of context.
Oh, come on, please.
Yes.
Oh, come on, please. Whoa. Whoa.
So, Sydney, that's a great observation. Wow, thank you. You're so smart and cool. Anyway, in late October
Weird.
2025,
That is
Glamour
weird.
magazine announced its Women of the Year class. On its cover page, it says it's highlighting trailblazers, rule breakers, visionaries, and champions who have defined each year. Okay, well,
All right, I'm ready.
The setup here is also meant to be about sisterhood and celebrating women who use their platform to uplift others.
I do feel like sisterhood is enveloped by the drunk girl in the bathroom who tells you that you look really pretty and that you should break up with your boyfriend.
You know,
If a random drunk woman told me to break up with whatever, like my boyfriend, and I'm in a bathroom, probably also drunk because we're at a drunk venue, I would still not let her convince me. It's just a stranger. What the fuck?
I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Which is kind of hilarious given that Zegler's entire platform.
Yeah, women sabotaging other women. Like, again, I feel like with men, it's kind of the opposite, isn't it?
Has been
even with a stranger,
alienate people and attack them. Very, very uplifting, Glamour. Very uplifting. Zegler's written feature itself is incredibly boring.
Why is the dress a trash bag? You know, it's sad. It's like, I can see how she's like conventionally pretty, and then she just puts a trash bag on herself.
Itself is incredibly boring, but it does try to further astroturf her career in the ways that you expect. The author paints Zegler as some sort of
high fashion. Yeah, I guess I don't get it.
Someone who cares deeply about the world. In the piece, Zegler says that other actors need to speak out and normalize not having boundaries on political issues.
No, I disagree. I think you're allowed to have not opinions on certain things. I think it was who was it recently? It's kind of escaping me. I saw a clip somewhere on Twitter, like an actress recently said, like, yeah, I just don't care. And then everyone was like, no, you have to have an opinion on this political thing. Yes.
She says, I think there's this idea that we as public
Jennifer
figures
Lawrence?
can't have
I don't remember who it was.
Because we are like paper dolls to the majority of the public. She also says that it's water off a duck's back as far as the criticism goes with Snow White and many of the other things that she's done and said. Don't misunderstand. You can have thoughts and feelings. Just the majority of us don't care about them at all. Even the ones who largely agree with me, because I think you live in an ivory tower over there, friend. You live in your ivory tower in Tinseltown, and you probably struggle to relate to the rest of us.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's like with really extremely rich people, like, how am I supposed to believe you from a like fundamental perspective on what you think the average person goes through when you've had your entire life like based around not being poor and just being wealthy and having a good life? I don't know. It's just like relatability. I can't speak English today.
I'm not terribly interested in what you have to say. Really, most of us are asking that you just don't make things worse, which is incredibly easy to do if you can just stop talking.
Exactly.
Stalks her.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, like, I changed the story of Snow White, a classic, because it's so not feminist enough, and I don't like that, even though it's about a story about a woman getting saved. Weird, like,
me with relation to these write-ups, and this write-up in particular, is that they're trying to position Rachel Zegler as some sort of like outspoken activist type, but in reality she's best known for single-handedly tanking one of Disney's most expensive remakes.
I do think that there's a lot more to than just her being a bad PR person for the movie. The CGI sucked. The story sucked because she was involved in changing it, allegedly. Well, not allegedly, because she said it herself. I'm still not 100% sure how much power she had over the actual script itself, but I do know that in interviews she talked many, many times about how she was trying to push it in a non-conventional way, and it's supposed to be like a less, more modernized and less fantastical story from the 1920s, and it's like, why? Like, why did you do that? Again, she was definitely a big contributing factor, but she wasn't the entire reason. Yeah, Peter also linked it up for the dwarves. Yeah, and the CGI was really bad, apparently. I didn't watch it, but yeah, the trailer said enough.
Into a masterclass in self-sabotage, posting about freeing Palestine with the film's trailer drop, telling the world the original 1937 film was weird and dated, and days after Donald Trump's re-election, wishing that his supporters never know peace.
Weird.
Like I said, very uplifting, Glamour. You know, the irony
half the people
is
voted, by the way.
Actually a way
half
to
the population.
Uplifted, and it's knowing that you're protected when you're surfing the web, which is why today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. Hi, you might know me as a shark from the ocean, but really, my passion is for VPNs. CN. I'm a shark. Sydney, not the weird.
Can I just say, they should have... I was gonna say they should have Gargora sponsor, like, Surfshark. That would be cute.
Costume. As the mascot of
it's
Surfshark
Auntie
VPN,
Gora.
you might expect me to be in the sea, eating fish or dolphins. But I'm actually much better at protecting you online by encrypting your internet activity and protecting you when you use public networks. Or helping you bypass specific country restrictions so you can access the content you want to watch or even the things that you want to buy. That actually happens to me all the time when I try to watch Australian television and the web pages just don't load. I know, that's why I'm here. If you're like Sydney and you want to watch weird Australian shows, all you have to do is turn on your
watch anything
Surfshark
Australian.
VPN, set your location to an Australian server, and you can access all the weird Australian television that you want. It's not weird, but this also works when it comes to accessing other news, media, and even foreign Netflix content. So instead of stalking the sea, I stalk the internet on your behalf. In addition to all of that, I also offer 24/7 customer service and allow you to use your Surfshark account on unlimited devices. You can even pair
Is this
your
from
VPN
Australia?
with Surfshark Alert
Like
for
the company?
instant breach notifications, like a privacy sidekick. So if you are ready to take advantage of Surfshark and their many, many tools and benefits, then click the link in the description or go to surfshark.com/Sydney. And don't forget to use code Sydney at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN.
Whoa.
The feature also came with a series of these Sisterhood videos where Zegler talks about her inspirations and acting and whatnot. She was asked what her first act of feminism was, which, okay.
Oh, Christ.
She was also asked the first time that she felt represented in media.
What is your first instance of feminism? Like, Jesus Christ. How about just acting like a normal person? Like, what the fuck? Why do you have to label it like feminism? Well, uplifting other women, is that an act of feminism? Talking well about other women? Like, I just hate the labeling shit. Like, oh, it has to be activism.
Which, again, okay. Here's the thing. I know that there are plenty of creators on this platform and on other platforms who basically jump at any opportunity at all to talk about Rachel Zegler because she is so vehemently disliked.
How does this help with acting? Good question. It doesn't. You're not really doing anything for acting. There's still a lot of actresses and a lot of actors. You still need, like, female and male representation in both sides.
But for me, whenever I see write-ups like this, I can't help but think someone's agent put a call into someone and said, we need to get our girl back in the spotlight. That, or Glamour thought that they could ride some of the controversy train and really cash in on some of those hate views. Or maybe it's both, who's to say? Because I can't help but think that out of all of the women on the planet, out of all of the talented, amazing women who could be highlighted, Rachel Zegler deserves to be highlighted the least. Now, I am sure that there are a bunch of you who are thinking, okay, Sid, this write-up actually isn't super weird given that she was in a major Disney production. She is in a current production that is in London. She's on Broadway. Is it Broadway? Maybe it's Broadway. She's doing all these things in the acting world. Like, yeah, of course they're gonna highlight her because she's doing stuff. And ordinarily I would agree with you. I'd say, yeah, this is probably a nothing burger, but I find it interesting that this highlighty piece came about 10 days after a series of articles came out about Rachel Zegler, but in the weirdest way possible. Around mid-ish October, several outlets reported that Rachel Zegler had been cast to play Gloria Estefan in an upcoming biopic. If you don't know who that is, neither did I. Apparently she's a very popular musician and actress.
I've never heard of her.
As the queen of Latin pop. As in the music. Not
any
Latin
Latinos?
pop,
Do you know who she is?
Roman soft drink. That joke was probably only funny to me.
I love Latinos and Latinas.
And if you're one of those four.
How do you not know Gloria Estefan? I'm sorry, I'm not Latino. Or Latina. Yeah, I think it's a cultural difference thing. It's okay. It's okay to not know things, guys.
I think you're really cool.
It's okay. It doesn't mean I don't like her. Maybe I would.
Glad I got that out of my system. But look, this is great news. Rachel Zegler is going to be in a new film. It's amazing. She's going to be playing this woman, the soda pop woman. She's gonna be playing the Queen of Latin Pop. Amazing. Except, and here's the problem with this, and this was pointed out by the outlet The Park Place, this movie doesn't exist yet. If at all. It's not even in production. I don't even think it's written. And claims about this movie hinge solely on an interview Estefan gave to the Sun newspaper recently, where she describes how they're working out all the film's details and are waiting for a green light.
And this is recent too.
They have that, the role is going to Zegler. But I think The Park Place really hit the nail on the head with their analysis of the situation. As writer Marvin Montanaro says, if this sounds like an attempt to attach a once bankable name to a film that's still in fantasy land, that's because it probably is. Zegler's career has been in free fall ever since Snow White turned into Disney's most avoidable train wreck of the decade, and Estefan's comments might be the first time anyone in Hollywood has even pretended to want to work with her since. It is a little depressing when you think about it that this person's kind of been relegated to the back of the bus, so to speak, so much so that even the slightest mention of her working in Hollywood again gets people really excited. But for a movie that's not written and does not yet exist. If that movie is gonna
But again, just because her name's in it and people are already negatively responding to it is not a good sign. I think they should have let it cook for at least a couple of years.
Exist at all. And the if here is doing a lot of heavy lifting. In another article they wrote about the situation, the outlet pointed out that in entertainment journalism, there is a recognized phenomenon of casting before funding, which is a practice intended to build hype or signal intention around a particular project. Without getting into the specifics or reading this verbatim, it basically generates publicity around the actors or actresses said to be involved. In this case, Rachel Zegler. I wonder why. And that's kind of what all of this...
How much money are they sinking into her, man? It's kind of crazy to me. Like, I feel like... Again, sure, it's oversaturated because we're kind of interested in her as, like, a collective, but at the same time, I feel like these things aren't cheap. Like, her PR team probably gets paid a lot of money.
Feels like to me a little bit an attempt to find relevance again.
I feel like other actors don't get this much attention.
And I saw a bunch more of it when I was making this video and researching for this video, that there are so many little graphics and whatnot that have been made that say, oh, Rachel Zegler is going to work with Disney again. Rachel Zegler is going to do this and that and blah, 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 blah. But absolutely none of it has come to fruition. I'm sorry if you can hear the noise in the background. Someone has decided to mow his lawn. Why couldn't you wait until later, Jerry? Why are you doing this now? I thought that this was the case too.
I can barely hear it.
2025, when Vanity Fair ran a piece insisting Rachel Zegler's box office failure kind of made her an icon, despite the fact that
an icon? Yeah, for not keeping your mouth shut.
That she's, you know, widely disliked. And I think that's sort of the crux of this. Relevancy isn't just about being seen, it's also about being wanted. And right now, Zegler is the furthest thing from wanted. She's here telling us how unbothered she is while hoping someone...
That's some cope. It's like the girls on Twitter be like, I hate men! Men suck!
Anyone will hand her a microphone. And I think the reality is that she absolutely had the ability to win people and Hollywood over. Zegler snapped up her role in West Side Story in 2021, then the Hunger Games film in 2023. What is it? A ballad of songbirds and fish snakes, I don't know. And then Snow White also in 2021-ish, although obviously this came out in 2025. And based on this trajectory, she should have gotten more roles and continued on in Hollywood, but it was like she became radioactive in the film industry. And after Snow White...
her PR team is still trying so hard. Again, you just kind of go underground. In my personal opinion, if I was her PR team, I would tell everyone to stop the presses, stop talking about her, and let the audience, not the audience, but like the public forget about her.
White was buried 6 feet under with a headstone that reads, "Here lies $270 million and a press tour that never should have gone ahead." That radioactivity got even worse, if that's possible. She sort of Chernobyled herself, except rather than a bunch of mangled humans, it's just her career. If I'm being real, I actually think a lot of this does go beyond all the drama surrounding Snow White, some of which absolutely was her fault, but some of it wasn't. But most of it was. But I think a lot lot of this has to do with the fact that this girl boss celebrity era is coming to an end, which doesn't bode very well for someone like Zegler, who has continually tried to position herself as some-
Is she doing TikTok still? Ugh. How old is she? She's only 24? I thought she was older than that. I thought she was 30.
kind of
Interesting.
Che Guevara.
That's still
Sorry
pretty
if I
cringe.
mispronounced
Every
that.
celebrity
I'm not
doing
very good at
TikToks is
Spanish.
cringe, in my opinion.
And I guess in some ways, it's also the fault of everybody around her, given that they're probably encouraging her to be this way and to exhibit this kind of behavior. And she probably genuinely does believe in what she is saying. I really do feel quite bad for all of these little Gen Zers. So full of optimism for change. Until life kicks them in the face. Life does not, in fact, give you lemons. It gives you complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Maybe it's just me, but I do think that most other people have moved on from wanting to be lectured by celebrities, if they ever did in the first place.
People stopped wanting that after COVID. Do you guys remember the celebrities crying in their bathtubs during COVID about how they can't go outside? Meanwhile, the average Joe still has to, like, lose their job, you know, live on a COVID paycheck monthly. Like, that's when people cracked. I think that's when people stopped giving a shit about what celebrities have to say online. Yeah, stuff a hole in it. Stop saying that your life is really hard. Like, shut up. Yeah, they cried in their mansions with their butlers.
And it seems that Hollywood is following social trends it sees on the horizon. And one of the biggest trends is fatigue with the politicization of absolutely everything. I feel like I mispronounced politicization.
Politicization.
Viewers are routinely demonstrating that they want less politics and less leftism. And maybe Zegler...
I think it's just flat out, to be honest. I'm gonna say it. Back in the 1930s and 40s, when actors were still around, people had the ability to access actors' opinions on, you know, being bought out or lobbied by certain celebrities. Oh, sorry, certain politicians being endorsed by certain celebrities. You can go look it up, like famous actors. I can't name them off the top of my head, but I remember reading an article about it that talked about, oh, I'm gonna vote for this guy, or I'm gonna vote for Reagan, or whatever. That still happened, but the fact that social media makes it so easy to access people's opinions, as opposed to, like, you know, a piece of newspaper that's maybe printed in a select few you know, newspaper outlets, or in a select few, like, you know, supermarkets or whatever. You don't get that access as easily. But now that this is a thing and it's so, quote unquote, like, propagandized, I'd say, it's a lot easier to see how stupid people are. Even actors.
And her team don't get that yet, and that's why they're trying to stage a comeback using these exact tactics. Except it's not really a comeback if no one's actually asking you to come back. It's just showing up uninvited. Please get out
That's
of
just
my
PR.
house. And this might actually be the weirdest
She's
part.
an insane
After
PR
Snow
team.
White fell in a heap and everything was not so great and quite hostile and whatnot, Rachel Zegler, instead of being quiet, decided to double down. She didn't reflect, she didn't take a break, she just got loud during a period of time when people want to be preached to a whole lot less, so do with that what you will. The bottom line here is that I think over the next year or so maybe, Rachel Zegler is going to make more and more attempts to get back into the spotlight and get back into Hollywood's good graces. And I think we're going to see that fail over and over again. Hollywood seems finally to be moving away from the kind of actress that she wants to be, and I'm not so sure that she's going to be able to improve and adapt. And instead, in the end, I think that she will basically ensure that she fades into relative obscurity. Now, on that note, and before I open the floor to
That's
all
what
of
they
you,
should have
this
done in
is
the
just
first
a reminder to
place.
check out Surfshark using the link in the description. I've actually used Surfshark for years. They have been a friend of the channel for years. So if you are looking for a VPN that does some cool stuff, Surfshark is the VPN for you. Now, I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Are you on my side of this issue where you think that these hyper-political actors and actresses are going to basically fade into obscurity in the coming years?
I think they won't fade into obscurity because they need to live in the limelight, but what will happen is that the pendulum is shifting in culture right now, that people are really, really sick of it. And the last, I want to say, like 10, maybe 15 years, I think people are starting to get, like, really sick of it, and it's actually damaging the industry. And it's damaging in the way that companies are noticing people not showing up to movies. Like, there's a couple of Disney movies and a couple of Pixar movies, and now, like, the Snow White thing that people are like, hey, I'd rather spend my money somewhere else, or rather not spend money at all and just stay at home. And that's where the bottom line is. They're going to be more strict about PR. I think Rachel Zegler is going to be a lesson for Disney to tell them to keep their mouth shut. Otherwise, she loses her acting job, and that finally will be like, oh, well, maybe I should keep my mouth shut because it's going to cost me a lot of money.
People move away from wanting to be lectured by these kinds of people. Do you think that this will never change and they'll always be popular?
No, I think it'll change.
Always want to hear from these kinds of folks?
No,
what
it'll
do you
change.
think of Hollywood basically Xing out Rachel Zegler? Do you think that that was a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you think of this bizarre glamour write-up that kind of came out of nowhere? Do you think that it's
PR.
trying to make her seem like some sort of activist type? Do you think that the sisterhood angle is completely bizarre? And what do you generally make of this issue overall?
I think it's the Hassan strat of, like, trying to make her PR look good because she spends a lot of money on it. Yeah, I don't even think it's that deep of, like, her picking... Sorry, I dropped my phone. Her picking angles to talk about, like, oh, I'm a feminist, I'm an activist. I think it's just an actual just PR stunt or PR piece.
As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you are not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well as leaving this video a like and a comment because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback. Of course, as I always say, I hope you little chickadee people stay safe and well and make good choices.
I'm a chickadee?
And I will see your wonderful little chickadee faces in the next video.
Is Hollywood that encouraged her? I kind of agree, but I also disagree because Hollywood is pivoting away from it because it's losing them money. I think they're starting to reach a point where it's like, oh shit, people aren't actually showing up to watch our movies. They are getting irritated and dislike bombing our movie trailers and shit. You have to, you vote with your wallet and things will change. Trust me. Corpos, again, I've said this before, I don't think corpos, even if it pivoted back towards the right or whatever in this culture war shift that people are talking about and how, like, leftists and left-leaning people, blah, 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 and how these left-leaning actors exist, right? Even if it pivoted to the right, it would be fucking stupid to think that these people, the people that, you know, work for Disney and stuff, the CEOs, they don't give a fuck about your politics. It's about squeezing as much money out of your ballsack as they can. Even if it means catering to, like, the other, quote, side because the pendulum is swinging. It doesn't matter.